Hi, I'm Molly, and I'm a development director in the human services industry. And I give Bloomerang a 5 out of 5 stars. Before switching to Bloomerang, we were using a product called Apricot by Social Solutions, which really was too much for our organization. We don't have a tech department that can set up all of the forms in that database and then the reports that needed to be pulled. And so, honestly, that system had been underutilized by my predecessor, which meant that I didn't have a lot of data on my donors. I basically knew the date that they gave a gift, their mailing address, and the amount. So I needed something that was going to give me the ability to learn more about my donors, to track more about them, to develop relationships. I needed to be able to develop campaigns and appeals that I could track progress on. And I needed something that was going to integrate with the other softwares that we were using. So I looked at Donor Perfect, I looked at Neon, I looked at Little Green Light, and several of Blackbaud's products. So I chose Bloomerang for our organization because it was built by someone who understands development. They were fundraisers, and so they understand the metrics that are really important to a development office. I also chose Bloomerang because of the onboarding system that they have in place. So the transition or conversion from our previous software to Bloomerang was really painless. I had one person helping me through the whole process. We shared a Google Drive document that showed me where they were on their end, where I was on my end, and they were able to give me a timeline that we actually came in under. So the conversion process for 2,000 plus records took less than 3 weeks, and I was up and running. So the conversion process was really amazing. Also, they have a ton of training material. So, learning the software, even though it is very user friendly and intuitive, when I hit a spot that I didn't quite understand, I could jump on and watch a tutorial that was less than 2 minutes long and go on about my day and get the information out of the system that I needed. I was also able to upload things in bulk where there might have been adjustments that needed to be made. And anytime they offer online support instantly. So anytime there is an issue, I can get to someone right away and they're able to either walk me through what I need to do or they can fix the problem for me if there is one. So they also integrate with QuickBooks and other applications that we use. So it's streamlining our donation process. It's streamlining our donation processing process. So it's saving me time so that I can be talking to donors more than I am sitting inside my computer having to deal with data entry. So it's an easy to use software, it's intuitive, it helps me report to my board in a way that they can understand, and it's giving me metrics that are going to help me be a better fundraiser for my organization, which ultimately is the end goal with any good software system for donors. During the onboarding process with Bloomerang, we were moving data from really distinct fields in Apricot into other fields inside of Bloomerang. And I needed those to match up properly so that I would truly be able to see progress on particular campaigns that I've been trying to track in these specific fields that didn't make a lot of sense in the other software. And so between my onboarding specialist and their development team, they were able to make that transition so that it worked perfectly. The other thing is I had a lot of records that I did not need inside the new software with Bloomerang. These were donors that had dropped off years ago and were still being kept as if they were active. So I didn't want to have to pay for those extra price points because of the number of donors that I had. What we did was migrate all the records, and then Bloomerang helped me to go through and take out the ones that I wanted to inactivate so that I could lower the number of active constituents inside of Bloomerang, which helped me to save money. And it's pretty unusual for a software company to actually help you get to a lower price point. The other thing I like about the onboarding is that the system that we went through to do it was very concise And I felt truly like I wasn't trying to do it on my own. I've been through a software conversion where it was all up to me to prepare the data to try to download and upload into the new system. And I'm not a programmer, I'm a fundraiser. So having Bloomerang hold my hand through that process made it really painless. And it also helped me when I went to my executive director when I was wanting to purchase the software, when I was able to show him that that process was going to be really cost effective and it was not going to be a painful thing that was going to take me away from other aspects of my job that I needed to do. So, if you're thinking about going to Bloomerang, the number one suggestion that I have is going on their website and requesting them to do a tour with you over the phone. So, this took about 30 minutes when I was searching for donor software, and they were able to walk me through all of the things that were specific to my organization that were going to help me if I went on Bloomerang. Now, I'll be honest, I did this with several other possible companies as well so that I could get a good comparison. But every time, Bloomerang came back as the one that was going to help me the most in the specific area where I work raising funds. The ability to customize things so that I can make it work for my board and the people that I have to report to, so that I can also track volunteers, I can track events, I can track where gifts are coming from. Are they coming from board members or are they coming from corporations or communities of faith? I can use it to track my grant process. This is a biggie. If you're a fundraiser, you know that the grant tracking process can be a nightmare. And Bloomerang makes it really easy for me to stay on top of where I am in the application process, whether or not the grant's been approved, when the funds are going to arrive, when my report back to the grantor is due. So it's keeping me on track with that as well. I also like the fact that I can assign tasks out of Bloomerang. So, not just for myself, but for my development committee, for my board, for my executive director. If I need them to make a call or follow up with a donor or a volunteer, I just create the task and it shoots them an email and it keeps reminding them until they've completed the task. Another thing I really like about Bloomerang, anytime I email one of my donors, I can blind carbon copy Bloomerang and it will automatically update that email interaction on their profile so that I can see how how I've been interacting with my donors, and so can the rest of my team of volunteers because I've added them as users. The thanking process, acknowledging process, updating process, all of that takes place inside of Bloomerang. It also integrates with MailChimp and a couple of other providers for when you're sending out email newsletters or appeals. You can send videos. So you can really engage your donors inside of Bloomerang. The other thing that I would look at too is uh, how software is going to keep you on the razor's edge of what's going on in the world of development and nonprofits, particularly with COVID. All of us have had to change our approaches, and Bloomerang continues to keep me educated. I have opportunities to hop on to webinars, and they also offer me CEUs as I'm working toward my CFRE, which is another big plus because I need those in order to go further in my career. So, all around, I would just consider what do you need out of your donor software, and then talk to Bloomerang directly and let them know what you need so that they can show you how they have all of that in one package.